Hey, I'm Yvonne Lynham, HSE Director for Advanced Facilities, and I'm here today with Stephen Anderson of Jones Group and Jason Casey of Ardmach to talk about HSE and design, and particularly how designers can help and hinder constructors. So, hey guys, it's great to see you both, and thanks so much for agreeing to come on here today and chat with me. Firstly, if I may, I'll ask you both to introduce yourself and maybe tell me a little bit about your work and relationship.
Okay, my name's Jason Casey. I'm Deputy Managing Director at Ardmach. I suppose just Ardmach are an international construction specialist delivering high-value workspaces and technical environments to the data centre, microelectronic, biopharma and commercial sectors. Worked a lot over the years with Stephen and the Jones team on many different projects all across Ireland, UK and Europe. So looking forward to having the chat about HSE and design.
Very good.
Great. Stephen.
Yeah, how you doing, folks? I'm Stephen Anderson. So I'm the Process Division Director with the Jones Group. So I suppose Jones Group, we're a multifaceted construction company, mech, elec, and a sprinkler, operating through Europe and the Middle East. So I look after our pharma division. So I suppose we carry out large-scale pharma projects throughout Ireland and Europe. And again, as Jason said, we've worked many times over the last couple of years, very successfully. So yeah, let's have a good chat and see the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Brilliant. So that sounds good. So I suppose my first question then, let's get straight into it. I'd like to talk about the times that a designer made your life easy for you. Jason, do you want to go first?
Yeah, that's fine. I suppose it's when you look at this here, it's about the end game and how do you get to the end game the easiest. So the design is only the starting piece, and then you get to the construction piece. So where we always find, when the design goes well, the construction tends to go well, and vice versa for the other side of the coin as well, I suppose. So, when design has gone well, I suppose, is when it's a sort of a project-based approach. So it's not everybody in silos, it's everybody sort of working to common goals and objectives. And that focus on constructability, where at every stage of the design process, it's looked at how do we go about this in reality and, in the field, and how easy it is for the trades to actually deliver what we're looking at. So, that side of things, along with, when we've got the right people in the room making the decisions, and people that are able to make the decisions and can carry that accountability to make the decisions on what's right and wrong, and in particular, the client and the end user, because at the end of the day, those are the guys that those are the people that can define the value of whether it actually works for them or not. And I think it's probably those three things or four things that are critical: having the end user in the room, or certainly someone that represents them strongly, having people in the room that can make the decisions, the constructability side of things, and then just that collaboration where everybody's working towards the common goal, I suppose.
Excellent. Yeah, really interesting. And how about you, Stephen?
Yeah, I suppose the big thing for ourselves is maybe the design sequencing and how that works with construction. Because I suppose that's the biggest challenge we typically find on the pharma projects, because they are quite complicated projects. I suppose, and what we do, they're up there in the top 10% of how you execute these things. So again, like that, we work out internally ourselves with our various groups and with like Jason and the other contractors. Really, when we say, you build in sequence on the top-down approach, that's hugely important, because just as an example for ourselves, like on a large-scale pharma project there, I like to think about it as a big jigsaw. So basically, you get a jigsaw. We start out with, on a large project, about 500,000 pieces. So we got 500,000 pieces. We then do our prefabrication. We break it down. Then we have 200,000 pieces. So we then need to interact. How do we build that along with Jason's pieces, the electrical contractor's pieces, and it's a lot of components come together. So it's really about, how do you build a jigsaw? Firstly, you need the picture. You need to see what are you building. You need to build the frame around the edges, get the frame, and work in a structured manner. So unless we have that, it makes it very difficult. And I suppose the knock-on effect, as Jason has said, it puts the guys under pressure during the install. If we go out of sequence, we're building scaffolds, and guys, it gets complicated up and down. That's a frustration, but it really is hard on the guys, in the field that are actually building these things. So that's what it's about. It's about making it as simple for the guys to do. You build it once and you come down. So that's why it's so key to get the design out in the correct sequence, and that we work with the designers. That's important to say. guys, look, we need you working here, we need you working there, and let's bring it together. You know, it's not as easy as that to physically do it. I appreciate that, but that's the aim where we want to get to.
So absolutely, exactly what the title of this is today, making it easy for everybody, really, and getting it right first time, to the best of our ability. So, how about the times that maybe it didn't go so well, and how did you deal with that? Stephen, do you want to start this time?
Yeah, sure. I suppose typically you know where it doesn't go well, and again, I suppose maybe we split our projects into some are new builds, some are should we say retrofits, you know, or upgrades into existing satellite plants. So typically speaking, where it doesn't go well, you end up with basically a lot of scaffolds. You know, you've got a lot of access issues. You got a lot of scaffolds. I think sometimes there could be a misconception to say, look, guys, we're out of sequence. It's no big deal, or you know, it's not a major challenge. Just build the scaffolds. You get to it. It'll be okay. I don't think maybe some people appreciate. One is the difficulty in building scaffolds. You know, it's quite difficult to build in tight spaces and so on. It's a lot of man hours added to a job to build them. You're building them in difficult spots. Then you have the challenge. The scaffold itself is in the way. So you built the scaffold. Now all of a sudden you've got to install around the scaffolds. You look at 50% of the time, it's in the way. You've got to modify it. And the last thing is, if you look at actually using these scaffolds, they're extremely difficult, extremely cramped and stuff on typical farmer sort of projects. So even though you've got this access up to it there, you're crawling on your back, on your belly there, you know, it's difficult work all around. So really where you can avoid that, that's what you got to do. So I suppose, unfortunately, there, the challenge has been the last couple of years where design has been, it's basically it's run over the top or running in parallel with the construction there. You know, a lot of our work we've been doing has been done using vast amounts of scaffolding in that sequence there, and that's really been the most difficult part of our business finishing out, because it affects the guys and the safety and what they're trying to do, but it does also affect the quality then coming back down through it, and then also you're affecting the guys' output. Obviously, you're getting less out of guys, and you know it really then it pinches you up when you're trying to finish out the project there. You know, you get that squeeze there for that last push there where you have a lot of snags, you have a lot of issues there, and it puts the project under pressure. So I suppose that'd be my view there, where that's where it's been a constraint, I suppose, on the bigger projects in the last couple of years.
And as you say, building additional scaffolds, that's additional risk. It's putting scaffolders at risk as well as your guys putting the scaffold up, taking the scaffold down. You know, if you're in a live plant, you could impact production, you could damage live services. So there's all of that added as well, which people don't necessarily see at the time. So excellent. And what about you, Jason?
Yeah, I think for us, we'd see a lot of the similar trends that Stephen was seeing. You know, I suppose the industry where it's at now, it's all about speed and how fast can we get stuff. And that, I suppose, gets into that element of design and over construction. You know, some of our guys would jokingly talk about, you know, when did we move from design and build to build and design? You know, and we go on the opposite way around at times, you know, just because there's an end date, there's obviously a client requirement to get to meet a date for their customers and stuff as well. So I think, you know, that whole level of scaffolding side of things, access is a key problem. I think the other big thing is, you know, when that design is starting to overlap with construction, there's an awful lot of change in terms of the plan. So, you know, we would focus heavily on planning. We use the last planner system. You're creating your weekly work plan for the week, and you're setting out your whole team to deliver. This is what we're doing in the week, and you know, when you bring everybody else into that mix and maybe different priorities, I suppose, and all of a sudden there's quite a lot of change in that. And as we all know, if we look back through incidents and accidents and stuff over many years in construction sites, large amounts of those are down to change and unplanned change. And then, you know, sometimes things happen that shouldn't happen, and there's no reason for accidents or incidents to happen if they're planned out properly. They just shouldn't happen. That's just the long and short of it. And there's always a way around it, but they're happening whether we like it or not. And we just have to try and, if we could get the design streamlined and being able to take that focus, I suppose, or that time just to be able to step back and look at the constructability thing that bit more through the design process around who goes first in that sequencing side of things, would hopefully allow less change in the field, and as a result, better improvement in metrics on our safety performance, I suppose.
Yeah, excellent points there. 'Cause management of change is always something that comes up when we do a root cause analysis for an instant investigation, and it pushes people into a position where they have to make a last minute decision that's probably not as well thought out as initial. So yeah, absolutely hugely important. So I suppose to wrap it up, my last question, in an ideal world, how can designers make it easy for everybody? Stephen, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I suppose, and I look again. I suppose just to highlight there, I do appreciate how difficult, on some of these projects the design element is. We as I think sometimes, maybe we come across that we don't fully appreciate the level of complexity there. I suppose we do, because the designers as such, they're building this job in their own right, in their phase, and then it comes to us to sort of build as well. So we appreciate that. So really, it's about working with the design teams, and there's a lot of great tools out there now. We use stuff like iConstruct and other packages there, where we combine what the designers are doing right in with the construction sequence, so we can bring that into local coordination meetings. Because I think some of the issues is maybe we leave some of these schedules too high level, so we need to break them down into another layer, to really sort of help the craft guys. But we can give that feedback back to the designers. Then this is the critical stuff we need to get out. This is the sequence we need to run through. So we're doing a lot of good stuff on that these days. With Jason too and the guys, a recent farmer project here in Ireland, we took that in and we started using that too. I suppose another thing we have been doing is looking how can we modify the actual install with the designers. For instance, say bracketry. Can we simplify the bracketry that we're using? Can we break them down into smaller components where we need to there? Typically, where you're working over walk-on ceilings there, you don't want to be carrying in large steel components or, big sections of pipe rack there, where you make things, that you bolt together, or you change it up there to make it easier on the guy to install. So again, we would have done a lot of that over the last couple of years. And, where you do need to there, you adapt that plan, but not that the guys in the field have to adapt it. That's done back and forth with the design team. So again, it's not in the ideal scenario, but again, we are adapting in between to get the sort of the sweet spot. So I think there's more of that, Yvonne, that we need to sort of work on. Again, I don't believe we're ever going to get to a point we have our design fully done up front, but again, that we're working best with the guys, that we get best bang for our buck out of the system, sort of as we have it at the minute.
Yeah, so allowing plenty of time, front end, really good collaboration, use of technology, all that. And I suppose just being open to anything new that can make life easier as things progress going forward. Absolutely. And Jason, how about you? In an ideal world, how can they make it easy for everybody?
Yeah, I suppose our clients, our customers, they're all driving for improvements in performance on safety, quality, schedule, cost, all of those things all the time. And I suppose the more the industry develops, I think the adoption of digitalization, using more modern methods of construction and lean thinking and practices through design and into construction, more focus on that will certainly enable us to be much better and build better. I think that whole collaboration thing around setting the project goals and objectives that everybody understands, contractually probably looking a little bit of taking away the fear of the risk side of things, that everybody feels fully comfortable working together and getting that project goal without the risk of getting stung for X, Y, and Z through the supply chain. It is critical in terms of that everybody has that shared goal, but also the shared risk and reward with that as well. And I think the constructability side of that is key as well. But as we've all seen in the industry at the minute, that resources are at a premium, and skill sets are certainly not coming through in the way that they would have done in previous years. Getting more focus on that modern methods of construction and offsite and modular and standardized products is certainly key to taking a lot of those issues away from site, and focus on that in the coming years. I think would be a big advantage to where we're all at as an industry, not just as individual contractors and clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And the modularization and the offsite manufacturing is a huge thing now, that's coming into the industry, and de-risking the site work, which is hugely important. And you also touched on a couple of times their quality, and I've again seen when we get design right and sequencing right, and quality tends to be better. And when quality is better, we've less rework, less 5-minute tasks, people getting up into finished areas trying to fix snags. So obviously the impact of safety is huge as well. So I think when we all work together, clearly, as you say, we get most bang for our buck and a better product at the end for the client too. So listen, some really, really good insight there, and I'm sure it'll be really useful to anyone listening in. So thank you so much for taking the time to join me today, and I look forward to seeing you both on a site soon. Cheers, guys.
So, thank you very much.